Well, hello there. What's going on, everyone? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side, and Habari Gani to you on this third day of Kwanzaa. And we are well into our way of celebrating the Kwanzaa celebration. And hopefully, again, you're doing well wherever you're watching from. If you're watching the live, go ahead and drop some comments in the live just to let us know that you're watching. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and drop some comments in the replay just to let us know that you've watched and that you're participating with us during this wonderful third day of Kwanzaa. So again, we greet you with Habari Gani, and today the Kwanzaa principle, or the Nguzu Saba, the principle for today is Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility. And so we're definitely going to discuss what that means in our space, in your space. Working together is a wonderful, wonderful thing. You have to be collaborative in our world nowadays. You really can't hold back and just do everything on your own. A lot of people do hold back and work, independently, but it's also very, very important to have that collective work and responsibility, not only to yourself, but also to the community. So we greet you with Habari Gani, and let's go ahead and light our candle for today. Alrighty, everyone. So here we go. Today is Kwanzaa, day number 3, Habari Gani. And of course, as you see right there on the screen, Ujima, which it means collective work and responsibility. And so we're just going to go ahead and, as you can see, collective work and responsibility means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. And so, let's go ahead. We've been reading some of the words by the founder and creator of Kwanzaa, Dr. Marilyn Karenga. And here's the text right here that we're going to be reading from just a little bit. Wonderful, wonderful text. And, Dr. Karenga was one of my advisors when I was at Cal State Long Beach pursuing my Black Studies degree, class of 1998. So shout out to everyone who attended the beach. And so let's go ahead and get into some of the thoughts behind Ujima. And so, as we see it, to build and maintain our community together, make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems, and to solve them together. Here's a couple of thoughts from Dr. Karenga. He says the third principle is Ujima, collective work and responsibility, which is a commitment to active and informed togetherness on matters of common interest. I love that word, togetherness. During the holidays, we're celebrating a time of being together. Families are coming together to kind of hang out and just really, get into each other, playing games, having fun, laughing, crying, whatever the case might be. But, the main point of the holidays for me is actually being together. But, we're going to try to take that step, try to take that point one step further. It is also the recognition and respect of the fact that without collective work and struggle, progress is impossible and libertarian unthinkable. Moreover, the principle of Ujima supports the fundamental assumption that Africa is not just an identity, but also a destination, a duty, responsibility. In other words, our collective identity in the long run is a collective future. There's a lot to kind of digest right there as it talks about working together. I kind of like what Dr. Karenga says is a recognition of respect of the fact that without collective work and struggle, progress is impossible. Man, you cannot have you cannot have collective work if you're not working together. Going through the good times and the bad times, the process. You have to struggle through some things. You have to work through some things to make that process work. A man, shouldn't be an island to himself. But in this particular principle, we're talking about, working together. And what does that mean for you? How can you and, your brothers and sisters in the community, but also, let's bring it close to home. Because as we found out in the first principle, Ujama, you have to work together, and the foundation is built with the family. And so, let's just kind of look at our family and just working together. I gave the example a couple of days ago, how our holiday meal came to pass. It wasn't just mom hopping in the kitchen, or Riley hopping in the kitchen and making everything possible. It was a collective effort. And so I know my camera just went out, so just we'll go ahead and reset that real quick. It was a collective effort of everyone to put together that particular meal. And so that's the spirit of collective work and responsibility, because, if no one is going to cook, right, then no one's going to eat. And so it was definitely a collective effort by everyone, just about everyone who wanted to participate. From a son purchasing some of the items, from one of my other sons preparing the meal, my wife preparing aspects of the meal, myself, just coming together and having a good time. And so you have to really want to work together to make things happen. It's part of the process. Also, let me jump over here in terms of cooperation. That's another word that kind of stands out when we're talking about collective work and responsibility. Cooperation is a great synonym. Just that teacher in me, just kind of thought about the word cooperation. And here's what Dr. Karenga had to say about just cooperation and being able to cooperate in a spirit of togetherness. With folks in your family and in your community in a larger text. In the context of a communitarian social order, cooperation is another key aspect of Ujima. It is based on the assumption that what one does to benefit others is at the same time to benefit him or her. Likewise, one who injures others in the end injures himself. So it's like, look, you can either work together to make things happen, or, if you're not going to work together, ultimately, the foundation might fall. It might fail because the lack of working together. And that was a Yoruba proverb. And then another thought here, he just says children in South Africa, children are taught not to be aggressive or competitive, but to be cooperative and share responsibility. Wow. That's a lot different from how we observe, some of our ways of being and doing over here in the United States. Let me just read that again. Children are taught not to be aggressive or competitive, but to be cooperative and share responsibility. Even their language reflects the cooperative thrust. For even when no one has just been given something, the one child says, when asking for something, give me also. Likewise, their prayer is never just for themselves, but for all's health, blessing, and prosperity. And so I see we're having a lot of technical difficulties over here, but we're going to persevere and make this thing happen. Okay. One camera feed is not going to slow the roll over here. As we talk about collective work and responsibility. So what are some of your thoughts about collective work and responsibility? Go ahead and drop them in the chat if you're watching. And, I love working I love working by myself, but I also love working together. And so when you have a collaborative spirit, that's going to make whatever you're doing a lot easier for yourself if you get others involved. Because if you try to do everything, you're basically going to stress yourself out, right? And stressing yourself out is not that great. And so if you're working on a project for school, for young people who might be watching, or even adults who are still in school, for your business, for your job, wherever you are, if you have a team of folks who are working to build something, then that's probably beneficial. It's probably going to be best for the organization. And you definitely just don't want to work in what we call we have a saying, and with some of my ministry leaders at my church, you don't want to work in a silo. You don't want to be a person working all by yourself all the time. Yes, I know there are times when you have to do things on your own, and that's fine. Like producing this podcast right here, this live stream. It's pretty much on my own. However, I have thoughts and ideas from other people who say, who shares, like, maybe you should try this or try this. Just the other day, my wife was telling me, hey, when you're reading the story, we really couldn't see you. It wasn't a good look, right? And so I was like, I could have said, you know what? Thank you for the information, and done nothing with it, right? But that would have been to the detriment of the live stream and the story that I was trying to read. However, on yesterday, I added a different camera angle so that not only do you see the book that I'm reading, but you're also seeing me at the same time I'm reading. And so it's definitely a collaborative effort over here where I can involve other people. Just the other day, again, a friend of mine, he's like, hey, I need some help on my YouTube page. Can you help me out? And I was like, sure. The gentleman was going to come by, but he was unable to make it due to having some car problems. So he was just like, look, can we flesh it out on a Zoom call? Absolutely. And so what we did, we took some of his thoughts and I took some of my knowledge, and we produced a header for his YouTube page, right? So we're working together. And all through that process, I was asking him, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you want here? What do you want there? And as he gave me the information, thoughts about how he wanted the YouTube header to be set up on his page, I took that information and I made it look nice and neat. And we kind of struggled through some things, but ultimately, we were able to accomplish what we wanted to do, and that was for him to have a YouTube header for his page, to have more of a presence instead of just something blank. Now, we're going to continue to work with him so that he can develop videos and posts and things of that nature, so that he can attract more subscribers, right? And that's because I've gone through the process of acquiring subscribers, of working on my YouTube header and things of that nature. He didn't feel too comfortable with working. But at the same time, as I'm working with him, I'm also going to show him how he can do some of those things on his own. So that way you're not necessarily relying on somebody else. If he wants to make a subtle change to his site, then he has the knowledge, right? And so it's not for me just to be the knowledge keeper. It's for me to share that information if I'm able to help him out during the process of making his social media presence a little bit better. So let's go ahead and dig into some of the comments. I know I've been talking a little bit. Let's go ahead and dig into some of the comments. So again, that was me just kind of testing out, making sure that everyone responded. And I didn't see too many people respond to my Habari Gani on YouTube. So here we go. Riley says, cooperation can exist in competition. Absolutely, it can. And we see that with our sports teams over here. Now, when I said that, competitiveness was one of the attributes that the children use in one of the African countries, not knocking everything that we do, because we know competition and cooperation does exist, especially in our sports world. You think about the Lakers and the Warriors, and just how when they play games against each other, there's cooperation on each of the individual teams, right? LeBron and Schroeder and some of the other guys, they have to practice to get better. each and every day. And so if they don't practice, you know, when they hop on the floor, they'll just get demolished. Right. And so that's kind of how the season started for them. But now they've kind of picked up some momentum. They've kind of learned how to play a little bit better with each other. And so now they're able to win some games. Same thing with football, baseball. There's absolutely cooperation in competition. And, that's, we call that team building, right? You call that team building. Riley also says the team must be like-minded. Let me go ahead and reshape this real quick. The team must be like-minded. That's the only way cooperative work happens. Absolutely. It has to be, you have to have the same goal in mind in order for the team to happen. And I think Riley, Maisha Riley hopped over on YouTube and she says, cool, can't wait to see that happens. Absolutely. Just a wonderful point of, helping someone else. And then she also says sharing is caring. So absolutely appreciate you, Riley, for hopping on and watching and participating in today's discussion. And so I think I have one more point that I want to make as it relates to just collective work and responsibility. So let's go ahead and read this last thought that I kind of pulled from the book here. It says, finally, cooperative work and responsibility can be seen in terms of challenge of culture and history. Work, both personal and collective, is truly at the center of history and culture. It is the fundamental activity by which we create ourselves, define and develop ourselves, and confirm ourselves in the process as being persons and a people. And it is the way we create culture and make history. It is for this reason, among others, that the Holocaust of enslavement was so devastating. Now, check this out. This is what I found very, very interesting. Not only did it destroy tens of millions of lives, which is morally monstrous in itself, but also destroyed great cultural achievements, created technological and cultural arrest, and thus eroded and limited the human possibility Africa offered to the world. In fact, the effects of the Holocaust are present even today, both in terms of problems of the continent and those of the diaspora. Man, that is, you think about that collective work and responsibility that happened, as Dr. Karenga describes it as the Holocaust of enslavement, just that whole enslavement ordeal. You think about what, all the collective work and responsibility it took to put that in play, right? And in doing so, it caused millions. It caused millions to kind of lose their lives. They were uprooted from their homes, and a lot of things were lost. Right, a lot of things were lost because of that fact. Africa had a whole bunch of information and opportunity to offer to the world, but all that was plucked out of Africa during the Holocaust of enslavement. And so, if we could use that same energy, right, to disrupt a nation of people, my goodness, what could we do if we begin to work together to do something to uplift our communities, to uplift our homes, to uplift our schools, our businesses? That same energy that those people had, why don't we use that same energy to uplift and help our communities, our families? And so here's my question, just to kind of put a thought on the end of today. How will you build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems to solve them together? Cooperation is definitely a key word here. Cooperation, working together. And I love the way that Dr. Crane talked about the children, just being able to cooperate and not necessarily having a real spirit of competitiveness, but really thinking about how they can work together, right? And as Riley said, we know that cooperation can exist, but there's a different mindset, a paradigm shift that we talk about as it relates to doing what we can to help our community grow and flourish. And so hopefully you can reflect on your own position, your own practice wherever you are. If you continue to just work by yourself in a silo, maybe you need to step out of your silo and begin to form those relationships where you can work with other people to build up, to build up your space, whatever that space is. If you're in education, if you're in commerce, if you're in merchandise, if you're in social media, whatever, you have to reach out and use the gift that others are offering. Sometimes it might be a paid service, sometimes it might not be, but you have to reach out and see how you can work and build relationships and collectively work together for the common good, for the common goal of one particular purpose. Last thought about my collective work in my life. Going back to my lead team at church. We're beginning to put some things together so that it will benefit the whole congregation, right? The whole congregation of people, not just one particular. And so you're beginning to see how communication is going to flow, how the social media is going to flow, how the worship experience is going to flow. And not that each of those are in their own separate silos, but we're trying to knock down walls so that we all can work together for the common good, which is to get the message out and build believers, build disciples, build disciples. But if I just try to stay in my lane and just only work with let's say social media, then, and if I don't have a connection to what the minister is doing, if I don't have a connection to what the communication team is doing, then my presence on social media is not really going to be that strong, because I'm only operating from a personal perspective, one person. But if I have everyone's interest involved, then that's going to make the message go out a lot easier, a lot smoother, and it's going to definitely rely on a group of individuals instead of just depending on one person to get out a message. And so that's where we are today with collective work and responsibility. And so what I would like to do is kind of finish up our our time today with continuing to read just a small excerpt again from 7 Kwanzaa. Mr. Riley, get it out. 7 candles for Kwanzaa. And so let's go ahead and shift over here to our overhead. And let's see if we can pick up where we left off. Here is the wonderful book right here. I know it's kind of shiny. Some of my lights are kind of making it shine just a little bit. Let me move my keyboard out the way. And we can read our story. Let's see. I do have some more comments before we hop into the story. And actually, you know what? We can go ahead and bring him on in here, right here. Maisha Riley says, all righty, Riley, I got to get this work in. See you later. Okay, so thank you for watching, sweetheart. That's my wife over there. And then we also have Bishop Donald Oliver. He says, East Side, Blessed Kwanzaa. Thank you, Bishop. Hopefully everything is going well in your neck of the woods over there in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And hopefully, if you observe Kwanzaa, Habari Gani to you. And thank you for being a part of our live broadcast today. All righty. So we're going to try to finish up this story today. If not, we'll definitely finish up tomorrow. And so this is 7 Candles for Kwanzaa by Andrea and Brian Pinkney. And I can't remember what page we left off on. So let's I think we left off on principle number 2. So let's go ahead and hop in here real quick. And once I find where I am, I know we read about Zawadi, because I remember my wife saying she loves gifts. I remember reading this particular page because I was just kind of loving how the dad was draping one of the cloths around the daughter. So I think this is where this is the last page we left off with, talking about Ujima-Kwanzaa. Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead and pick up here, and we'll read probably about, let me see how many. Yeah, we can maybe do 4 pages. So let's go ahead and read. 7 Candles for Kwanzaa. Habari Gani. What's the news on the 3rd day of Kwanzaa? Collective work and responsibility. Umoja Ujima, I'm sorry, is the Kwanzaa day to light a green candle and to work together and to get a family chore done, like stripping down an old wooden chair and giving it a fresh coat of paint. There we go, right there. Uh, when the fourth day of Kwanzaa dawns, it is time to celebrate Ujama. Ujama means cooperative economics. For Ujama, we save up our coins for a whole year to buy a family gift that everyone can share, like a clock that chimes or a hallway mirror. On Ujama Day, a red candle glows bright in the Kanara. So there we go, right there. See that? And let's do two more. Nia. Nia is purpose, the fifth Kwanzaa principle. Today, a second green candle glows to illuminate our purpose. This day of Kwanzaa is for reflecting on how to fill the days and years ahead. Some folks dream as an astronomer who peers at stars nestled in the sky, in the dark night sky, or a trumpet player who bebops in a swinging jazz band. Nia, our purpose is to do what makes us glad to be who we are. Kuumba means creativity, the sixth day of Kwanzaa, for celebrating Kuumba in every way. Today we make up dances to perform for friends. Some dances tell stories about the history of people who live in Africa. Other dances are just for fun. Sculpting mounds of clay or reciting a favorite rhyme is also ways to express Kuumba. So is planting seedlings on our windowsill and nurturing them to sprout. The third red candle shimmers to help our creativity shine. And we'll stop right there and we'll pick up the rest of the story tomorrow. Again, 7 candles for Kwanzaa. And, I appreciate everyone participating in our virtual Kwanzaa celebration. Now, I know yesterday, a friend of mine had asked me, she's like, hey, James, have you considered doing a podcast? And so, I'm actually trying to follow up on that and build some things so that we could have a podcast. And so look forward to that maybe coming out sometime in the new year, because her reference was like, look, Mr. Ryder, what you're doing right now is pretty dope. It's pretty cool. And maybe you should podcast some of these episodes so that people can kind of listen in and, get in tune to what you're talking about and as it relates to celebrating Kwanzaa. And, so this kind of got me thinking all day yesterday, and I began to kind of investigate and kind of do some research and see if we can make that happen for next year. I do see a comment over here. Hey, Deanna Williams, what's going on? She says, story time with Mr. Riley. Thank you for hopping on, Deanna. Hopefully you and the fam bam is doing well over there in your neck of the woods. I appreciate you hopping on and listening to Mr. Riley. And if you haven't checked out, you can go over a shameless plug right here. You can go over to our to my YouTube channel, Mr. Riley's World, and there's several stories that I have posted that I've read already, and so go check it out. Since Deanna said story time with Mr. Riley, you can check out some of those offerings. And if you have a young person in your life who likes picture books, picture stories, check those out. You might find something to benefit you, and if not, maybe you can share it with. Have some of your friends and family share it with some of their loved ones who might have young children as well. Alrighty. So as we close up today, I just want to say, again, I appreciate you hopping on tonight, indulging us as we discuss. I see a number of folks are watching over here. I see Dominique. Hey, Dominique, how's it going? Thank you for watching. Let's see who else as I'm scrolling. Daryl Williams. What's going on, Daryl? I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you for watching. Appreciate you. And I see Gwendolyn Wilson. She's watching this or was watching. So I appreciate you guys just checking out what's going on over here, Mr. Riley's World. And if you would like to support the channel, you can do so by going over and buy me a cup of coffee. It's kind of cold over here on the west side right now. Not as cold as it is in the Midwest, in the East Coast, but it's definitely a lot cooler on Sunday and Monday. It was like, high 70s, mid to high 70s. But yesterday and even today, yesterday it rained a little bit throughout the night, and today is kind of gloomy and cloudy. So, but anyway, if you'd like to support the channel, I love drinking coffee. Go over to buymeacoffee.com, and you can definitely support Mr. Riley. Looks like at some point I'm gonna have to get a new camera here, so it keeps going out. It hasn't gone out, since probably about 10 or 15 minutes ago. But yeah, if you'd like to support the channel, by all means, please go over and buy me a couple of coffees at buymeacoffee.com/Mr. Riley's World. And I would be very, very appreciative of anything that you do to support the channel. Alrighty, guys. So I think I'm done for today. Tomorrow we'll come back. I've already have it set up for 11:30. So if you don't have anything to do tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, come on over to the YouTube channel. Come on over to the Facebook, my Facebook profile, and we'll do the same with day number 4. And it should be principle number 4 is Ujama. All right. So again, thank you for watching. And this is Mr. Riley signing off from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.